James joins me live now from Brussels. So, James, it looks like all 28 members have agreed on some sort of counter-terrorism strategy towards ISIL, despite the French and the Germans having reservations initially.
Yes, I mean, I think this is possibly just a little bit more than a symbolic move. NATO will be able to offer something, bring something to the anti-ISIL operations. But I think it is worth telling you, NATO has 28 members. All of those members already are individual members of the anti-ISIL coalition. So it's not really quite as important as it sounds. NATO's making a big deal of it because NATO's trying to show the new man that they have to impress, President Trump, that NATO is an important institution, an important player. And that's why I think they're doing this at this summit, emphasizing it as the president comes to his first meeting at NATO, not to the NATO headquarters that's been here for 50 years. That's where I'm standing. The one that's just over the road there, you can see it looks a bit like an airport terminal. That's the new NATO headquarters that he's going to be opening. Now, right now, the president is not here at NATO. As you know, Brussels is a city that is home to a number of different institutions. Right now, he's meeting EU leaders. We have live pictures now of him meeting the two presidents of Europe, the president of the European Council, Donald Tusk, and pictures of the president of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, President Trump going in to see them. He'll be meeting them and shaking their hands in just for a few moments as he arrives in the European quarter of Brussels, a city, of course, that is a place where a lot of diplomacy gets done.
And obviously a lot of contentious issues that will be discussed between the two, including the global trade and also fighting climate change.
Well, climate change, I think, is something that's going to be discussed there at the EU. They really want President Trump to stick with the commitments that President Obama made at that Paris Treaty in 2015. They would be really, I think, very unhappy if the US were to pull out of that Paris Treaty. And that's one of the decisions that President Trump has deferred until he's done this consultation with leaders that he's meeting on this trip. He says when he comes back to Washington, he'll make a decision on climate change. The other important decision concerns this body, concerns NATO, and that's the ongoing mission in Afghanistan. It's a troubled mission. The people on the ground, General John Nicholson, who's the commander there, wants more troops. He's put that message in to President Trump. He's put that message in to NATO headquarters. Is there any appetite for any of the NATO nations to give more troops? We'll see. And what about President Trump? Again, he said he'll wait for this meeting, go back to Washington and make that important decision.
Okay, James Bays live for us in Brussels. Thank you, James.